Welcome back to the show, everyone. Today, Diane and I are tackling a topic that honestly, many people don't think about until they absolutely have to. We're talking about executors, what it means to be one, and why it's such a profoundly important role.
It's true, Sean. I mean, it sounds a bit formal, doesn't it? Executor of an estate. You hear that and you might picture a stuffy lawyer in a big office. But in reality, it's often a family member, a close friend, someone who's already grieving, suddenly faced with a mountain of responsibilities.
Exactly. And that's where the challenge really begins. It's not just about paperwork. It's about navigating grief, family dynamics, and legal obligations, all at the same time. So let's start with the basics. What actually is an executor?
At its core, an executor is the person legally appointed to carry out the wishes of someone who has passed away, as outlined in their will. They're essentially the personal representative for the deceased's estate. Think of them as the manager, making sure everything is handled properly, from start to finish.
And it's a huge undertaking. I think most people underestimate just how comprehensive that managing everything part really is. It's not just, handing out money. There's a lot more to it.
Oh, absolutely. It starts almost immediately after someone passes. One of the very first and often most urgent tasks is locating the will itself. Sounds simple, right? But if it's not in an obvious place or if the deceased was a bit disorganized, that can be a real treasure hunt.
Yeah, and if there isn't a will, that's a whole nother ball game, which we should probably touch on briefly, because without a will, the estate is distributed according to state laws of intestacy, and the executor's role, or rather the administrator's role, becomes even more complex and often more contentious.
For sure. So assuming there is a will, once it's found, the executor often has to validate it through a legal process called probate. This is where a court officially confirms the will's authenticity and the executor's authority. It's not always required, depending on the size and nature of the estate, but it's a common step.
And that's where the legal jargon really starts to pile up, which can be super intimidating for someone who's never done this before. Probate courts, letters testamentary, beneficiaries, it's a whole new language. You're also responsible for inventorying all the assets, right? And I don't just mean money.
Exactly. It's everything. Bank accounts, investment portfolios, real estate, vehicles, personal belongings like jewelry, art, furniture, even sentimental items. The executor has to get a clear picture of everything the deceased owned and its value. This often involves appraisals, which can be time-consuming.
It really sounds like a full-time job for a while, doesn't it? Especially if the estate is complicated or if the deceased had business interests or a lot of different properties. And then there's the whole issue of debts and taxes.
Oh, that's a huge one. Before any beneficiaries see a dime, the executor is responsible for paying off any outstanding debts: credit card bills, mortgages, loans, medical bills, and taxes. Don't forget the taxes. Income taxes for the final year of life, and potentially estate taxes, which can be incredibly complex. Neglecting these can lead to serious legal trouble for the estate, and even the executor personally in some cases.
That's a terrifying thought, that you could be personally liable. So the executor really has to be incredibly meticulous and organized, keeping detailed records of every single transaction and decision. It's not a role for the faint of heart or for someone who likes to wing it.
Definitely not. And throughout all of this, they're also communicating with beneficiaries. This can be one of the most emotionally charged parts of the role. You're dealing with people who are often grieving, sometimes feeling entitled, or even suspicious. Managing those expectations and providing clear updates, even when there's no progress to report, is crucial but exhausting.
I can only imagine. You're trying to do your best, follow the will, adhere to the law, and you've got family members maybe second-guessing every move or even accusing you of things. It's a pressure cooker situation.
It absolutely is. And once all the debts and taxes are settled and the assets have been properly valued, then and only then can the executor begin the process of distributing the remaining assets to the beneficiaries according to the will. This is often seen as the finish line, but even this can have its own set of complications.
Like what? You mean after all that, there can still be issues?
Oh, Oh, yeah. For example, if a will leaves a specific item, like a piece of jewelry to someone, but that item has been lost or was sold, or if a property needs to be sold and the beneficiaries disagree on the selling price or the real estate agent to use, or even just coordinating the transfer of titles and deeds for properties, it's not always as simple as writing a check.
Wow. So it's pretty clear this isn't a role to take lightly. What are some of the biggest challenges people face when they step into this position, beyond the sheer amount of work?
Honestly, one of the biggest challenges, and I can't stress this enough, is the emotional toll. You're grieving the loss of someone important to you, and simultaneously you're tasked with essentially unraveling their entire life. Every document, every photo, every item brings back memories. It's emotionally draining.
That's a really good point. It's not just a business transaction, it's deeply personal. You're reliving moments, dealing with their legacy, and doing it all while trying to keep a level head and make sound financial and legal decisions. That's a huge ask.
And it can feel incredibly lonely. Even if you have family around, they might be looking to you for answers or putting pressure on you. It's hard to find someone who truly understands the unique blend of grief and responsibility you're carrying.
I suppose that's where professional help really comes into play. You can't be expected to be an expert in probate law, tax codes, and real estate all at once, especially when you're emotionally compromised.
Absolutely. Hiring an estate attorney, a financial advisor, or even an accountant can be invaluable. They can guide you through the legal complexities, ensure all deadlines are met, and help minimize potential tax liabilities. It's an investment that can save a lot of headaches and potentially a lot of money in the long run.
And it also provides a buffer. If there are difficult family conversations or disputes, having a professional communicate some of the legal realities can sometimes diffuse tension because it's coming from a neutral third party.
Exactly. They can explain why things have to be done a certain way or why certain assets can't be distributed yet, without it feeling like you, the executor, are making arbitrary decisions. It's all about following the law and the will, not personal preference.
So for anyone listening who might be named an executor or is considering asking someone to be theirs, what are some practical tips to make the process smoother?
First, and I cannot emphasize this enough, organization. If you're the one making your will, make it as easy as possible for your executor. Have a letter of instruction or a binder with all essential documents, will location, bank accounts, insurance policies, contact info for advisors, passwords. Just make it a one-stop shop.
That's brilliant. I mean, think of the time and stress that saves. Instead of someone frantically searching for a hidden will or figuring out which bank you even use, it's all laid out.
Absolutely. For the person acting as executor, my advice would be to take a deep breath. Don't feel pressured to rush. The process often takes months, sometimes over a year, depending on the complexity of the estate. Allow yourself time to grieve and to seek help when needed. You don't have to be a superhero.
And that leads us back to seeking professional help, doesn't it? Don't be afraid to budget for it. The estate typically covers these expenses, so it's not coming out of your pocket. It's part of the cost of administering the estate.
Crucial point, Sean. People often try to do everything themselves to save money, but they end up making costly mistakes or burning themselves out. A good attorney or accountant is worth their weight in gold.
Also, communication. We touched on this with beneficiaries, but it extends to everyone involved. Keeping an open line with any co-executors, your legal team, and even creditors can prevent misunderstandings and delays. Transparency, where appropriate, can head off a lot of problems.
And don't forget self-care. It's so easy to get swallowed up by the responsibilities of being an executor, especially when combined with grief. Remember to step away, take breaks, lean on your own support system. You can't effectively manage an estate if you're completely exhausted or emotionally broken.
That's really important, Diane. I think people often feel like they have to put their own feelings aside to be strong for others, but that's a recipe for burnout. It's a marathon, not a sprint.
Exactly. And finally, keep meticulous records. Every phone call, every email, every receipt, every decision, document it. Create a system, whether it's a physical binder or digital folders. This protects you, and it provides clarity if there are ever any questions or disputes down the line.
So to sum it up, being an executor is a monumental task. It's a role of immense trust and responsibility, requiring diligence, patience, and often a thick skin. It's not just about managing assets, but about honoring a legacy.
It truly is. And for anyone who finds themselves in this position, remember you don't have to do it alone. Seek professional guidance, lean on your support network, and be kind to yourself throughout the process. It's an act of love despite all the challenges.
Beautifully put, Diane. And for those of you planning your own estates, please make it easier for your loved ones. Get your affairs in order, designate an executor, and make sure they know where to find everything. It's one of the greatest gifts you can leave them.
Couldn't agree more. Thank you for joining us today, everyone. We hope this conversation has shed some light on this incredibly important, often overlooked role.
Absolutely. And if you have questions or experiences you'd like to share, reach out to us. We love hearing from you. Until next time, take care.